Hi, today I'm going to do a celebrity on the red carpet look. Now, as you know, I don't really do that many celebrity looks for like I never do kind of copycat looks simply because I don't like to copy other people's work. But as this one is Kate Winslet and I did her makeup for the Titanic 3D premiere, and so many of you requested it when I put it on my blog, and I've just had so many messages on Twitter and Facebook asking for this tutorial, so I thought it would be a nice one to do today. I've been doing red carpet makeup for about 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. It certainly wasn't a very stressful job back then. You do the makeup and a really nice picture would come out in the newspaper the next day. The last 5, 6, 7 years have been completely different because of the internet, and now it is quite a high pressure job, not just for me but for the hairdresser and the stylist and the celebrity as well. I was writing about this actually in my Elle column last month. It's just the thing that they walk out and the minute they take a foot onto the red, they put a foot on the red carpet, you know that within 20 minutes those pictures are everywhere worldwide and people are commenting on, critiquing. So it is quite a lot of pressure really. And you get lots of people, on the internet going on about how to do red carpet makeup. They're normally people who've never done red carpet makeup and certainly not at that level, because it is not just about a look, it's not a red lip or a black eyeliner. It's so much more than that. It has to be modern, it has to be iconic, it has to represent the actress well, it has to go with the styling, and also it has to have incredible longevity because even just at the Titanic premiere, Kate was on the red carpet for, I think it was either 2 or 3 hours. I can't remember how long it was, but it was a long time. And you obviously can't go in and do touch-ups. The other thing is you need so much experience because of the change in light. Most red carpets start around 6 o'clock. So if it's summer, there'll be bright, bright sunshine when they first get out the car. So people will be taking pictures with natural daylight, it has to look good in sunlight. But then it goes dark, and then there's the big bank of paparazzi that are all using flash, very, very strong flash, high def film. All the rest of it is very kind of, the scrutiny they're under is unbelievable. And then there's all the TV crews. So I think Kate did, was it 50 TV crews up the red carpet for that one? And each one's got different lights and, it's just phenomenal how many things you have to take into consideration. So it's not as easy as it looks. I think that's what I'm saying. And whenever I see great red carpet makeup, and you see it all the time because there are so many great makeup artists out there. But whenever I see really good red carpet makeup, I think, God, congratulations, what a brilliant job they did, because I understand what went into it and how stressful it is and how much professionalism and experience you need to kind of get it right, and nerve really. So yeah, it's quite a big deal. I think it's probably the hardest aspect for me of my job now. So much harder than going into a studio or doing a fashion shoot or any of those things. And I do have a lot of respect for people who do it and do it well. So my model today is the beautiful and very long-suffering Jessie, my assistant Jessie, who's been with me for about 4 years. Some of you may recognise her because she did model in a couple of my videos before. She's quite shy and she says that she's not going to talk at all today, but we'll see what we can drag out of her. Anyway, I hope you like the look. To start, I'm going to use the Rosalight Moisturiser by La Roche-Posay, and this is the anti-redness, so it's a little bit green. It's also very soothing and moisturising. Next, I'm going to use Teint Miracle by Lancome. I need to use something in between 2 and 3, so I'm going to mix these. So I'm just covering all the centre of the face and really smoothing that in. So that's a layer of the foundation all over. It's pretty much taken all the redness down. Next I'm going to use Caro Mask, and this is their concealer, their camouflage concealer in light number 7. Just going to use it very, very sparingly there where there's a touch of redness. And also same on the other side. Turn that way for me. Just a little bit there. It's just going to address that redness. And this is waterproof and it's set. It's a little bit like the Vichy Derma Blend. They're very similar, except this one comes in a lot more shades. So it's really handy for pigmentation or blemishes or things like that. I'm also going to use a little tiny bit of that around sides of the nose and centre. You really do need the most minimal amount of this stuff. Even what you think is minimal turns out to be too much, and you really need to buff it and blend it in very well. But it's great for concealing. I'm just going to blend this now up towards Jessie's under eye area as well. Because it's quite heavy product, again, minimal, and really taking off all those edges. So concealer done. Next I'm going to use some contour. This is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate palette. This is the lighter one. I'm going to just do some subtle contouring. So when you're working with a cream contour like this, just aim to go right along the bone there. But you don't want to end up with anything that looks like it's, you can sort of see where it ends and where it begins. So start really lightly. You can always build up. It's better to build up than to start with something that's already dark and then try and take it down, which is very, very difficult. And if you do have any edges, you can just use your foundation brush again to soften things down. And always stand back the whole time you're doing it and check it from the front, so you really get to see what sort of shape you're getting together. So next I'm going to use some powder. I'm just going to use, this is a Chanel translucent powder. I will be powdering later before Jessie here goes on the red carpet, but this is just a bit of a holding powder for now, just to set what we've done very lightly. This is a Suq eye brush actually. I often use this for powdering if I just want to buff a really small amount on and get it exactly where I want it to be. So next I'm going to use NARS Pro Prime. Put a bit of that on my hand and apply that all over Jessie's lids. Next up was Chanel Prelude, and this is the 4 shades, very natural, almost like light and shade. It's one of my favourite palettes for just doing something that's really sculptural on the eye. This is the lightest shade. I'm just going to put it all over to start with, just a wash of that. Next I'm going to use this second to darkest shade. I'm going to use that. It's coming into the socket line. Just again really giving some good shape, but blending that open for me. Let me just check the shape. Okay, and then coming round to the side here. So now I'm going to add a teeny bit of the darkest shade and work that in more at the outer edge. I was pleased to see that Joan Rivers on the Fashion Police described Kate's makeup that night as perfection. That was definitely like the royal seal of approval from Queen Joan there. Just going to switch over to a bigger brush and just blend in. Okay, so before I finish off eyes, I'm going to use some eyeliner. I'm going to use this Espresso ink by Bobbi Brown and a really fine brush. It was only from about halfway across. So from about here, it started to get thicker. And this inner corner, just open for me a second, was almost non-existent. And was actually really blended. Just look that way so you can't see it. It's nothing at all. So super, super fine. And then beginning to take shape around the centre, just open. Yeah, it was pretty much like that. And then in between the lashes. And then the whole thing smudged and softened a lot. And then slightly lifted up. It wasn't hugely, but just extended. Open your eyes, let me see the shape. Yeah, it was just a little bit extended there. It's really defining right down to the roots of lashes. If you're doing this yourself, really lift up your brows, don't be shy, to get right in between the lashes, and then use a brush and just really soften it down a lot to get that sort of effect. So eyeliner's done. I need to continue with, look up for me, Jess. This is a mixture of the two darker shades of shadow that we used above. I'm making you water there, aren't I? Now you know what it feels like.
Yeah. For
our poor victims. Okay, before I finish any of that eyeshadow, I'm just going to give your eyelashes a good curl. Then I used Hypnose Mascara Waterproof by Lancome. I always use waterproof mascara for events like this because you don't know if, maybe, I don't know, there's going to be a tearful moment, or just the fact of having to say hello to so many people and be photographed for 3 to 4 hours. I don't want any smudging underneath. I'm going to take the brush that I used earlier with a fraction more of the dark shade just to add at the outer edges there. The next thing I'm going to do is do some fake eyelashes. I'm going to use these Ardell short flared ones in black, and I'm going to use some glue on the back of my hand. I have got a video about this, how to do them properly. Can't find my dark glue, so I'm going to have to use some light glue. I mainly use them at the outer corner on Kate and a couple in the middle. Okay, so we've got about 6 lashes on each. They're still wet, as you can see, they're drying there. While they're drying, I'm going to do brows. Kate's brows are quite dark and quite defined, so I'm going to darken Jessie's brows a little bit. I'll tell you what I haven't asked you before, Jessie. How do you feel? Because you're so cool and calm and collected when you're working with me, and I work with a lot of big celebrities, working with them for the first time.
The first 5 minutes, I'll be starstruck, think, wow, it's them. And then they just become a normal person.
Just get used to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've never been able to tell that you have ever been starstruck, so you're super professional, and that's why you're so good. And 4 years ago when you started working for me, I don't know if you remember, but who was the first celebrity that you worked with me?
The first was Lily Allen.
Oh, Lily. Oh, that must have been nice. How was
Yeah.
that?
Fine. That was the first ever shoot I'd ever seen or been on.
Oh, okay. So you had your 5 minutes of, and then you're okay?
Yeah, that day was probably 10.
Okay, so brows are done. I'm just going to go over with a bit more mascara to lock those in, although there's still little tiny marks from the glue. Next I'm going to use this Lancome Rouge in Love in 170, and it's a really bright, beautiful red. And I didn't use a lip liner in this occasion. I just put about 3 layers, really thin layers of this colour on. It looked different in different pictures because when Kate first got onto the red carpet, it was really bright sunshine. So it looked a little bit more orangey in the end of the day sunshine because the sun was quite orangey. So it looked a bit more coral. And then in the pictures later on in the evening, it looked a bit more red like this, but it's a gorgeous shade. So second layer, I'm just going to do a little bit of correcting on Jessie's lips. Just smile for me. Last layer of lipstick, not too much on the brush. Third layer, so we have a real good stain, and because there's no lip liner, I'm not going to get some weird edging to it. So that's a nice modern looking red lip. For cheeks, I am using RMK, and this is Coral Rose, and I didn't do too much, just a little bit around the sides there. Onto the cheekbones. Just a very classic C shape. Final touch, I use some pigment in Beguile from Illamasqua, just to add a little shimmer there at the inner corner of the eyes. Not too much. And then touch more powder. And that is more or less the look. Looks really good on you, Jessie. I like it.